Thank you so much, and I'm very proud to know that sometimes in the competitions, rabbis versus food, I won one battle in Houston, because usually it's all about the food. So this is what people remember. So Rabbi, I want to thank you very much for the invitation. I'm just putting my phone in silence, so it doesn't bother to anyone. All right, and yeah, we're going to talk about Shalom Bayit. Shalom Bayit means peace at home, and living together, husband and wife. And as I already explained, this is one class, the first class of the series of 3 classes, which sometimes the umbrella title that I have used is male brain versus female brain. And that expresses itself in many areas. And today I'm going to talk about communication, how that expresses in the way that husband and wife talk and communicate with each other. All right, that is going to be our subject today. So let me start literally from the beginning. From the beginning means that where do we find in the Torah some description about the difference between the genders, the difference between men and women? Where? Where would you go to find this? I would go to Bereshit, directly to creation, right? Where in creation we have something about the difference between men and women. So to begin with, of course, we are talking about Torah. It's not a regular human book. So you have to scratch the text. You cannot just have enough with what you read. You have to read between the lines and read also in the context. So if you see the context, or if you see the totality of the narrative of creation, so I ask you, how is creation portrayed? How did creation happen? Did it happen from less sophisticated to more sophisticated? Or Borei Olam created things from more sophisticated to less sophisticated? From less to more or from more to less? From less to more. How do we know this? Because the first thing Borei Olam creates is matter. Just matter. Shamayim va'aretz. He arranges matter in a way that creates rakia, then organizes the seas, etc. Then the beginning of life is with plants. That's the first cells. Only then in the 5th day, Borei Olam creates the first animals, right? And then the first animals, which are oviparous animals. The 6th day, Borei Olam creates another type of animals, which are the mammals, right? And what happens at the end of the 6th day? That's a new creation. What? Borei Olam creates from matter to life, and from life to intelligent life. Borei Olam creates humans, right? What is the last creation of Borei Olam? Woman, yes. So, if the last creation of Borei Olam is woman, because they were not created, there is a midrash that says, so but Rashi brings it, but Rashi says that the peshat is that, as is described in the 2nd chapter of Bereshit, that man was created first. Borei Olam introduced man to the animals. He sees that there is no one, and that his company, his mate, has to be designed and created for him. So he asked Borei Olam for it. That's a beautiful thing of making man need woman even before women exist. So we are seeing that the last creation of Borei Olam was the creation of woman. And did we say that creation goes from less sophisticated to more sophisticated, or the other way around? It went from less to more. So there you have the first indication that women and man are different in the degree of sophistication. Right? Now we will see in terms of what is that expressed. be sophisticated. It's just the anatomy. It's just the fact that woman can bear life, etc. Or is there anything else? But we have the first hint, right? Besides these hints, we have some things that are explicit. For example, this will be number 2. Man was created from man. Adam was created from what? From dust of earth, right? From the ground, from afar. Very good. What about woman? By the way, man was created from the same source as the other mammals. Okay? And woman was created from? She was created from the ground? No, she was created from human flesh and human bone. Right? From the flesh and bone of man. From an inferior source or from a superior source? You tell me. You tell me. From a superior source. There is something else, a little more sophisticated. Let's get sophisticated here. Man was created from a what or from a who? From a what, right? And woman was created from a who, right? From a person. Woman could be seen as an upgrade of man in this sense. And I don't think I'm exaggerating here. I'm just rereading what we have been reading for so long, with perhaps a different perspective. Then we go to some things that are a little more explicit. For example, when Borei Olam is creating woman and introducing her to man, the Torah uses the word Ezer Kenegdo. What does it mean, Kenegdo? What is Kenegdo? Woman is created as a Ezer, let's say, companion. Let's call it companion. It's okay. Right? And what is Kenegdo? I know there are many different...
Opposite.
Excellent. Excellent. So excellent because many people say against them, etc. I think it's against them. Perhaps you can say the Peshat might be in the context, the Peshat might be at the same level, that's what we Kenegdo. But Chachamim explain that Kenegdo means opposite. Opposite is not different, right? It's more than different. Opposite means that it's a 180 degree of difference. Could be 180 degree of difference between man and woman. Great. So we have all this to bear in mind. Woman was created at the end. Woman was created from human flesh. Woman was created as opposite to Adam. And finally, I'm going to introduce something from Chachamim. Okay? It is in the Torah, but Chachamim give their interpretation, which is of the essence here. What was the word used by the Torah for the creation of man, of Adam? Va'itzer. What does it mean Va'itzer? What is Va'itzer? Yatzar. How do you translate in English Yatzar? To form. Bara is to create, which is a verb that is used exclusively for an action done by Borei Olam. We cannot libro, we cannot create something from nothing. All right? And bara, by the way, is used only 3 times in the narration of creation. For these 3 steps that I told you. For the creation of matter, out of nothing. For the creation of life, which was not produced by the earth. Okay, was a different creation out of nothing. And for the creation of human intelligence. Right? For these 3 things, for the neshama. When I say human intelligence, what I mean is the Tselem Elohim that we have. That is the possibility that we have to think. We are able to think. Animals, they see reality in pictures. We have a linguistic apparatus that allows us to abstract reality and to perceive reality with words. that allows us to have a process of thinking. And that process of thinking allows us to have freedom of choice. Because we can perceive reality as it is. We can say no, or we can lie, or we can cheat, or we can be kind and even sacrifice our lives for others with no survival, nothing to do with survival, with evolution, with anything. That is a capacity beyond, nature that evolution cannot explain. Impossible. And that possibility of allows us, the thinking process allows us also to communicate with Borei Olam, to listen to Borei Olam, and to communicate with each other. That's why Chachamim, the Targum, when explains what is the Nefesh Chaya, the particular soul that human was endowed with, he says, Ruach Memalela, the possibility of speech. As I said to you, this linguistic apparatus, this is our neshama. That's what makes us different from the rest. Why I'm saying this? Because when Borei Olam creates woman, the Torah uses a different verb. It's not va'itzer. It's not, and he formed the man from the dust of the earth, and then he infused him his neshama. What verb does the Torah use for the creation of woman? Va'ibn et ha'isha. Va'ibn, from the word libnot. Now this libnot, which means, I know in modern Hebrew is build, but I think if you go a little with more sophistication, you can say that va'ibn is, as opposed to va'itzer, va'ibn is designed. Designed. Va'ibn et ha'isha. Chachamim took that, and they say, well, this word va'ibn comes from libnot, design, or to build. But there is another idea associated with this word, which is Al tikre banaich ela bonaich, right? Bonaich is not your builders. Bonaich are those who know you from the word bina. It means intelligence, to distinguish this to this. So Chachamim said, Mikan shebina yetera nitena laisha. Help me to translate this. Right, right. From here we see, Chachamim said, so much for Jewish chauvinism. Chachamim said, from here we learn that Bina Yetira, you translated an extra intelligence. Understanding was given to the woman. Okay, you seem to know Hebrew. So if I translate this, Bina Yetira, instead of that I say, a superior intelligence. Is that within the Hebrew semantics? A superior intelligence. Bina Yetira. Now, in which aspect, in which area was given this Bina Yetera to the woman? In which area? If the area that characterizes man and differentiates man from animal kingdom is the area of communication, so you would expect that if we're talking about the superior intelligence, that intelligence will be in the area of communication. All right? Clear? Okay. So these are the four things that I have learned from Bereshit, with the creation of woman. In a sense, it's very, very interesting because Mr. Chimpanzee and Mrs. Chimpanzee, they were created in the same act of creation, as if they were just one and the same. Okay? And Borei Olam created in the 5th day or in the 6th day many species. But man and woman are portrayed as if they were created, literally as if they were two different species. Two different species, man and woman. Okay. So these are going to be, I'm going to use these as pointers to see how do we understand each other, because if we are so different, so it's going to be a challenge, right? Challenging. Now, before I go there, I believe that the Torah contains the truth. It's in the book given by Borei Olam, and as science advances, scientists are discovering what the Torah said a long time ago. I wrote a book called Awesome Creation. I talk about science, Big Bang creation, all that, where I prove that point in the aspect of creation, of, let's say, cosmology. But I think that also here, something has been discovered in this century, the 21st century, which for me, it is perhaps the biggest discovery of the 21st century. For some reason, this is not very known. In America, is deliberately ignored, right? And I have to credit this discovery to its to the person that originally formulated it, which is a neuroscientist in Cambridge University. His name is Simon Baron-Cohen. He's the cousin of Sacha Baron-Cohen, and he wrote a book, fantastic book, called fantastic book called The Essential Difference. In that book, he claims that there is no human brain. There are two human brains, the female brain and the male brain. And these are two distinct brains. So he calls the female brain the E brain, and he calls the male brain the S brain. So E4, the female brain is the E brain because E means emotions. Nobody says expenses here, but I think people are thinking about that. All right, what else? Emotions is part of it, but it's not what this says. I mean, it's impossible for you to guess. All right, so the E is for empathy. So he says that female brain is wired for empathy. We have to understand what empathy means. All right? So what is empathy? What is empathy?
Compassion.
Excuse me?
Compassion. Understanding how
Understanding
the
that.
other person feels.
Yeah. Very good. What would be
being
the...
able to feel what somebody else is feeling.
Perfect. Feel what somebody else is feeling. I just need to feel one more blank. One more thing. I need half more sentence. Another half of the sentence. It's a little bit sophisticated. So, to feel what the other person is feeling, to know what he wants, to know the ability, the epitome of empathy would be the ability to know how the other person feels, what he or she needs, what he or she wants,
To anticipate.
before without the other person saying a word. You got it? You got it? My ability, if I have empathy, to know what you are thinking, what you want, what you need, what you feel, what is hurting you, without you telling me a word. This is magic. Right? So he says that it's mind reading. Mind reading. So he says that women's brain is wired for empathy. This is the power, in my own words, that Borei Olam has endowed women with. This is the incredibly superior intelligence for communication. Pay attention. When I say communication, I don't mean just delivering a message. I mean, almost particularly, I mean how you decode a message, how you interpret what the other person is telling you. You got it? This is for me the communication. Now, who is more intelligent? Or who is wiser? So when I say, or when we talk about the Binah Yeterah, They're not talking about chokhmah. Chokhmah is wisdom. Chokhmah is content. You got it? So in terms of content, it depends. It doesn't go by gender, it goes by merit. It goes by how much I study, how much I want to learn. But in terms of understanding, especially in the field of communication, then women are an upgrade. Because they have this incredible power of knowing or reading people, okay, or reading the message differently. I'm going to give you many examples. But before that, I want to go to the S. Hey, there's another brain, the S brain.
Sanity.
Okay, sanity, sympathy. Okay, sports. Okay, the what? I heard sandwich, right? Is it sandwich? All right. So S is for systems. Man's brain is wired for systems. You see, it's not very similar to empathy, right? No. So what is empathy? What is sympathy about? Sorry. What is systems about? What is that about?
Problem solving, isn't it?
Problem solving is part of it. Yes. Yes.
Cause and effect.
Excuse me?
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect. Perfect. Wonderful. Can I say it with my own words, with what you just said? Predictability. How to predict things. Now, in a system, everything works in a way that is predictable. If it's not predictable, it's not the system, doesn't work. So, man's brain is wired for systems. It's good for systems, not very good for empathy. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have any empathy. It doesn't mean that women don't have any system. Doesn't mean that, but predominantly, man's brain is wired for systems. Okay? And in a system, the number one is number one, and the number two is number two. And guess what no means in the world of systems? All right. It means no. All right? And 5 means 5 minutes or hours or whatever, or dollars. Okay? And which one is better? Borderland created us different. This is how he designed us, and for a purpose, deliberately, not to make our lives more difficult, but to complement each other. After all, by Christ, Adam, I mean, we are one. Man is considered half of a person, and so is a woman. So we better be different because we need to supplement and complement each other. You understand? But for this synergy or synergy?
Synergy.
For this synergy to work, then we have, first of all, to know each other and to work each other, to assemble each other in a good way. Clear? So I'm going to give you some examples. Before that, I forgot something very important. In this book, The Essential Difference, Simon Baron-Cohen, he brings something very interesting. He brings like 10 pages at the end of the book. And in those 10 pages, there are just pictures, black and white, of eyes. Just eyes. 4 eyes every page. 4 pair of eyes every page. And in every picture of eyes, it says, what is the emotion that these eyes are portraying? Sad, scared, depressed, happy, whatever, okay? And women, they really excel in knowing what these eyes are expressing. Men, we really do very bad, okay? So it shows you that in terms of empathy, we are not the winners, men. Okay, women are very developed, very much more mature, and very much better than men for that. Okay, so as you see, we were created different, and now when women are with women, and when men are with men, everything is wonderful. in terms of communication, because the expectations are met. E-brain understands E-brain, and S-brain understands S-brain. So the world is perfect, except for one small thing, one very, very small thing called marriage. Okay? Then, when E marries with the S, then this is when problems might begin, especially if we don't know about this. If we don't know about this, then it's really almost unavoidable that problems will come. Problems that are just coming from the fact that we are speaking two different languages. It's not my personality here. It's the fact that I am a man, and the fact that you are a woman. In my opinion, and I have done counseling for many years, I have given counseling for many years, in my opinion, no less than 50%, I want to be conservative, 50% of problems, small problems between husband and wife, they come from this. From the lack of understanding that we speak different languages or we have different brains, right? And of course, we men, we project our own thoughts in the way that we do it, and we expect our wives to do the same thing with us. And our wives do the same thing with us. From the word of empathy, they think that we also must have a brain of empathy. Okay, now at least we have the words. Imagine if we don't even have the words, empathy and system. We just think that we are very similar to each other. All right? Okay.
Would
So,
you say,
for example,
empathy and science, S for scientific method?
yes, that could be too. Yeah. Now, let me give you one example, okay, of everyday's life. So imagine a man comes to his bedroom, his wife is there, and she's sitting on the couch. And she's sitting, no cell phone, she's not reading anything, she's not watching anything, she's just sitting there a little bit like, worried. So what does he do? What would you do if you're a good husband? You ask her, hey honey, are you okay? And what does she answer? She says, yeah. You say, very good. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Now, fine, I'm fine. So, okay, I'm the husband. I just heard that my wife is fine, but I love her too much. And I'm smart. I'm smart. So I think something is wrong. So I'm going to ask her again. So that's my tools to find out her emotions are verbal tools. Right? So I ask her again, honey, are you sure that you're okay? She says, I told you I'm fine. And I go out of my line of duty and I ask a third time. So are you sure you're okay? Yeah, I told you I'm fine. After a minute she goes to the bathroom and she comes back with tears. So the husband says, what happened? He says, we are married for 10 years. And you don't know by yourself that I'm not doing well? Don't you remember that I had a fight with my sister 2 weeks ago? And we haven't spoken since then for 2 weeks? And you are asking me? He says, yeah. So how would I know that you are not okay? He asked her. She says, what does she say? Because you are my husband. And I'm your wife. You're supposed to know how I feel. I think his husband is saying, I should have come to this lecture like 40 years ago. I'm reading minds now. I'm good at it. So who is right here? Who is right? Is she right? We married for 10 years. You should know me. You should know how I feel without me telling you anything. Oh, wow, that sounds like empathy, right? She's expecting him to behave with empathy through her, to her. This is what she knows. That's her world, that's her universe. But there is only one thing she doesn't know. There is only one thing in which she is wrong, which is that she doesn't know that her husband has a different brain, has different structure. And even if he loves you, he still cannot read your mind. That's the biggest frustration of many women. All right? Now, from the point of view of the husband, he did whatever he could. There is only one thing he's wrong, which is that he doesn't know that his wife has a different type of brain, different structure of brain. That her wife's brain is E, is not S. But the only way, I want you to listen carefully to this, the only tool that a man has to know feelings are words. I know it sounds strange to women, but this is how men are. That is the only way we can find out how you're doing, just by asking you. We don't have this machine that reads feelings. That's why I said, and I didn't say this jokingly, that women are superior in terms of their how they interpret the message. They can read a situation right there. So she expects him to read her sadness right there without her saying any words. You got it? Second example. I will ask maybe the questions for the end. I will have time for the question. The second example. Her birthday is coming in 2 weeks. So he asked her a very manly question. He asked her, "Hey, honey," and he's a loving husband, "your birthday is coming in 2 weeks. What do you want for your birthday? What can I do for you for your birthday? Maybe throw a party, maybe go to a cruise, anything you want, anything you want." So what does she say? She says, "No, it's okay. Nothing, it's fine. It's fine, no, don't worry. Nothing, it's okay, it's fine." Now, what did he hear?
Don't bother.
What did she say? She said nothing, right? And he's E or S? He's S. And in the word of S, nothing means nothing. And no means no. She said, "No, it's okay, it's fine, don't do anything." After 2 weeks, he comes and do nothing. Is she happy about it? No. She expected him to do something. You didn't forget it's my birthday today. I know, I asked you. I asked you if you want anything, but you said no. Now, she didn't mean no. But she's not going to say it.
So no means yes.
Wait, no. You see, you wish that things would be so easy as every time you say no means yes. No, that would be a system's wish, okay? But things are not that predictable, right? So what happens here? First of all, it took me 5 years. I'm giving these classes a long time ago, but only 5 years ago I discovered why women say, in this case, like no, and they don't mean it. Why? Why would they say no? No, it's okay, don't celebrate my birthday, it's okay, it's fine. Because, let me see if I can say it. Because they don't want you to celebrate their birthday because they want to celebrate their birthday. They want you to want to celebrate her birthday without her telling you that she wants you to celebrate her birthday. Does it make sense? Did I say it correctly? Right? In 5 years to formulate this idea. Right? I know it sounds complicated, but it's not. Unless you're a man. For a man, it's complicated. Why it's not complicated? Because she wants you to take the initiative. Why? Because, and you said it correctly, because for her, if you do it without her telling you anything, and especially after she told you no, that for her is love. Yes, that's a test of love. That's a proof of love. You got it? It's a little bit, I told you, it's more sophisticated.
So we all feel it.
Right? So now, what happens if it's the opposite? What happens if it's the opposite? If the wife asks your husband, hey, honey, do you want me to celebrate your birthday in 2 weeks?
Yes.
He will say, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's do this, let's do that. I have like 10 ideas, let's do it. Okay? Or he will tell you, maybe he will tell you, no, we don't have the money this year, maybe let's leave for it. And if he says no, when his birthday comes, what will be expecting? Nothing. Because he said no. We are different, right? Now, who is right and who is wrong here? Are women wrong? Do they have to change and be more literal? Are men insensitive? Because if you take this example, I have so many times that people say, oh, I don't understand my wife. I don't know what she wants. She says no, but it's not no. It's like, for them, it's like insane. And for women, it's, I don't know, my husband doesn't love me. Because he doesn't understand me. You understand? Because deep down, a woman thinks, and please, this is the title of this class, if you love me, read my mind. Ergo, therefore, if you don't read my mind, then you don't love me. That's the mistake. That's the biggest mistake. I know, what are you thinking? You're thinking, well, but what is the solution? Well, the solution begins with knowing, with having this information. Because the solution is acceptance. The solution is not change. You don't want to change your wife's brain. You don't want to change your husband's brain. But you have to understand them. You have to understand how your husband thinks. And you have to understand how your wife thinks. That is Shalom Bayit. That is what we want to achieve. Without information, Shalom Bayit is not possible. With a few exceptions, because people are going to clash. Men are going to clash all the time, and they will think, he will really think that my wife is not sane. And he will think that this is wife that says no and means yes. And she will think that her husband is cold. Maybe I made the wrong choice with my husband. And she doesn't know that her husband is a man. You got it? Right? So, information is the key here. Knowledge is the key. I'm going to give another example. Sometimes, as I said, silence, like in the first example, is not silence, and sometimes no is not no. Sometimes you doesn't mean you, from the point of view of the woman. How does a wife usually ask her husband to take her out for dinner? What does she say? Let's say he comes home and she is home, right? So what does she say? I'm talking about language here.
She says, I don't want to cook.
So
Which restaurant?
this is what she would usually say. She would say, hey, darling, do you want to go to Pescada tonight? They gave me 10% if I may. Do you want to go to Pescada tonight? All right? So, what does she think? Now let's see how he thinks. He doesn't talk, but he's thinking like this. He's thinking, do I want to go out for dinner tonight? I am hungry. Now. I want to eat now. I really don't want to go. I don't want to spend money also. So he says, no, thank you, darling. What is the problem here? That she said, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? You understand? And he understood this literally as if she's asking him if he wants to go out of dinner. Right? And she gets frustrated, and he gets frustrated. And they don't know why. They don't understand each other. Husband and wife, they don't understand each other, but it's just this word and the lack of understanding of why women express their thoughts in this way, or communicate in this way. So now we are a little better equipped to understand why would a woman say, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? Why she says, do you want? because she expects him to be the proactive part, to take the initiative. For her, that's love. For her, yeah, you're right when you say emotions before Brother Eve, because women are much more emotional, I mean, as we will see later on, right? So for her, even take me out of dinner is a matter of you love me. Okay, if you love me, you would know that I need to go to dinner. But for her, it's enough. For her, it's absolutely clear that when she says, "Do you want to go to for dinner?" she means, "Take me out for dinner." So, what's the solution here? Again, do you have to change? Do women have to change the way they speak?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, all right. All right. Perhaps occasionally you cannot reprogram your brain, but occasionally you should know that your husband, yes, he, you know, I don't want to shoot to, I say shoot to my,
Shoot yourself in the leg.
shoot myself, yeah. But I think the problem is that women overestimate their husband's intelligence in terms of communication. We don't get nuances. We don't get nuances. You know, if one day in 100 years, or whatever it is, they say in the next 300 years, humanity will develop artificial intelligence will be able to replace man, not women. Okay, for sure. Now, if you want to understand, I'm talking to the wives here, if you want to understand your husband's brain, think about the computer. You know what? Think about Siri. Your husband is like Siri. So, you have to tell Siri exactly what you want. You cannot hint to Siri. You cannot, if Siri is asking you, hey, listen. Siri is asking you, in 2 weeks is your birthday. Do you want me to remind you of your birthday in 2 weeks? You cannot say, no, it's okay, Siri. You cannot say that. Unless you don't want Siri to remind you of your birthday.
Alexa's just an
So your husband is like Siri. You will get the information that you input there because he's about systems. So yes, occasionally, this is my advice, and if you really need it, then spell it out for your husband. Just be very, very clear. Just talk to your husband as if he was I don't want to say little kid, but like a machine. You know, like he understands. It's like when my wife sends me to the grocery store. Bring me tomatoes and cucumbers. So I have to call her from what tomatoes? Cherry tomatoes, big tomatoes, the other tomatoes, black tomatoes. This. I don't know how much. She said for a salad. I said, but 1 pound, 2 pounds. I have no idea. I eat and sleep in this house. I don't know how much. So she has to tell me exactly specific what she needs. Okay. I also get a list, but the list has to be specific with the tomatoes, not just one item after the other item. What these items specifically mean. So something very similar happens, you know, when you really want your husband, when you really need your husband to do something for you. That's a good way of seeing if your husband is mean or is a man. Okay? So if you tell him, honey, I would like to go out for dinner. I need to go out for dinner. And if he says still no, I'm hungry, whatever, yeah, it's mean. But you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how much you can get of your husband if you tell him exactly what you need. I know this is not in nature. In your nature is different. You want to heal because it's part of love. That's natural for you. You got it? And from the side of your husbands, we have to do our effort. And now that we know how our wife thinks and feels, etc., try to understand it a little more. But again, you cannot expect to change completely. Not from this side, not from this side. You don't want that also. Is that clear? So all what I said has to do with understanding. Understanding is best place where we can get in Shalom Bayit due to our differences. Right? Okay. So let's go to the second point. So we said that woman is Ezer Kenegdo, that you brilliantly said that is opposite. So we are not just different, sometimes we are opposite. So I'm going to give you an example when we are opposite. So for example, the way that we men distress from tension, okay, and the way women distress from tension. We are not different here. We are opposite, 180 degrees opposite. Okay, so let's start from women. So how does the woman distress herself from tension when she's tense? What does she do to relieve herself? Shopping, yeah, okay. What else?
Exercise.
Exercise, okay. What else?
Fuck yeah.
Yes, she talks. She talks. If she has a problem, a tension, something is bothering her, she will talk about that problem. And as she talks about this problem, she gets relief from this problem. Now, this is the catch. She cannot talk to herself about this problem. She cannot talk to the world. She needs to talk to another human being about her problem. This is a very, very deep need that every woman has. They have to vent out what they feel, what is hurting them. Ladies, is this true? All right? And they have to do it with another person. Okay? And it used to be when things were differently, not better nor worse, like, I don't know, 100 years ago or so, that women would talk with their mother, with their sister. They still talk with their sister, with their mother, with their friend, with their neighbor. But now, because of the new era, so there is more interaction between husband and wife. And many times, very often, more often than ever, women talk about their problems with their husbands. Right? Now, husbands, they don't have this information. They don't know that a human being can talk about his or her problem just to vent out about her problem. Because in the world of men, as you said before, system has to do with solving problems. So when you fixing problems. So when you tell me a problem, it's either because you're blaming me, then, yeah. They say, why are you telling me this problem? What did I do? Or because you want a solution, you want me to fix it. In the world of men, it doesn't exist that Rabbi Kasser and I, we will share our problems together. Talk about my community, we talk about his community, and blah, 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 blah. If I talk to Rabbi Kasser about problems in my community, it's because I need his help. I need his advice. You understand what I'm saying? So in the world of man, this is why we would communicate the problem. But in the world of women, you don't communicate the problem necessarily for solving, finding a solution. They are venting out. I said before, women are very intelligent. No, they might not need the advice, but they need an empathetic ear.
Sympathetic.
No.
Sympathetic or empathetic ear. Somebody that will listen to them and know how to listen. Now, men are not prepared for being empathetic listeners, good listeners. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Bam, 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 but they will jump into the solution immediately.
They don't want it.
Right. You see, that's exactly the problem. Yeah, they don't want to listen, but not because they don't like you. It's because we have a different mindset. Okay? You got it? Now, is this understanding what is the lack of this understanding what causes problems and frustration? If you don't know this, you say, but my husband, does he love me? He never listens to me. He cannot listen to me. He doesn't want to listen to me. But it's not that. Right? Now, how do men relieve themselves from tension? Women by talking, by venting out. What do men do when they want to relieve themselves from tension?
They watch sports.
Yell.
Yeah. Okay. That's anger, that's not tension.
They watch sports.
They watch sports. Okay, very good. Let's take that as an example. They watch sports. What does it mean they watch sports?
They tune out the world.
Isolate.
They isolate. What do you say?
They tune out the.
They tune out, but tune out, I think I prefer watch sports. Why sports? Sports is competition, right? Right? The NBA, the Warriors against the...
Everybody. They beat everybody.
Okay, all right. So as you watch the Warriors against the Cavaliers, against the Cavaliers, my thing is soccer, it's not basketball. So. Against the Cavaliers, and there is tension there, and they watch this tension as the game is going, and the more tension the better, then his internal tension is going out, is going away. Seriously, it's going away. There is an invisible cable to the ground, but through which all the tension is disappearing. 30, 40 minutes, all the tension is gone. Got it? This is how men, they go to their cave and they distress themselves from tension, relieve themselves from tension. You got it? The picture is clear?
Yes.
Now imagine we don't know this. And you have no idea how many people don't know this. They don't realize this. They have some intuition, but they were never taught. Were you ever taught about these things in school? No, right? What about college? I think not even perhaps before we got married. And this is essential. Now what happens if you don't have this information? This is what happens if you don't have this information. He comes home and he's very stressed out, okay? And he sits on the couch and he turns on the TV to watch sports. All right. So his wife is really surprised and she says, what's going on? She's worried, what's going on here? He hasn't been with me since 7 in the morning that he left for Minyan until now, 9 o'clock. And the first thing he wants to do is to watch sports? Okay, so what does she do? A loving wife, what does she do? So she sits next to him, although she doesn't want to watch TV. She sits next to him, and then she says, hey honey, how was your day? So he says, without taking his eyes from the screen, he says, I had a terrible day. Now for him, that is enough. That is enough for her to understand that he needs his space, he needs his time out. But she's a loving wife. And in her universe, when she says, I had a terrible day, if she says, let's say if he comes home and he says, honey, how are you doing? He says, I had a terrible day. What does it mean? It's a cold. I had a terrible day, it's a cold. Not because she wants an aspirin or she wants she needs one thing urgently. She wants you to ask her, really, what happened? This is like an introduction, like something that triggers. It's obvious if I, the wife, I tell you, I had a terrible day, I'm expecting you to say, oh really? Let me tell me what happened. And I sit next to you, and you went out, and I went out also, and half hour, 40 minutes, wonderful, great. That's great. This is what she needs. And because this is what she needs, she believes that this is what he needs too. So she sits next to him and says, how was your day? And he says, I had a terrible day. So in her mind she says, I know what to do. I know what he needs. So she says, okay, tell me what happened. So he says, I told you I had a terrible day. For him it's enough. He's like, I'm venting out with my invisible cable in my own cave. Leave me alone. This is what he's saying. this is a good guy, okay? We're not talking about a bad guy. But it's just a psychological need. And now, because she's very loving, she insists, and she does an act that, for her, this is one of the biggest acts of love that she can do, which is, she takes the remote control, she turns off the TV, and she says, honey, tell me, what happened to you today? And in her fantasy, she expects him to, oh, you know what, I left today at 7, and this, and that, and traffic, and blah, blah, blah. And she expects him to talk for 40 minutes to tell her exactly what happened about his day. But this will never happen. Why this will never happen? Why this will never happen? Don't forget the 180 degrees. Because when women talk about their problems, they relieve themselves from these problems. When men talk about these problems, they relive these problems. So ask him anything but to tell you what happened that day. Because he wants to forget about it. And the way to forget about it is not taking it out of the system with words. It's allowing these problems to go out of his system by going to a cave, whatever that cave is. You see the problem. Now, this couple that don't have this information are going to be very frustrated, right? They're going to go to the shrink that told them that you have to have communication. Yeah, you have to improve your level of communication. And she will say, well, I try to improve communication, but he doesn't love me apparently. He comes and he's more interested in TV than in me. And he will say, you know what? I need my space. I need room in my house. Right? Sounds familiar? This is what they will say. And they could go to therapy for 2 years, $200 an hour. Just because they don't know this little detail. This little detail that we are different. That's it. In some things, we are opposite, not just different. Okay, so I have a little more, but I don't know how much longer we should do. All right, maybe we'll leave something for next week to. So let me wrap up a little bit. So you can have also your questions. I will welcome your questions too. Why Hashem created us different? Why Hashem created men with system and women with empathy? Why? Is this a cosmic joke? Does Borei Olam want us to fail as a couple?
Opposites attract.
Opposites attract, yeah,
Both
but
important things to survive.
to work together as a team. So what did you say?
They're both important things that you need in order to
Exactly.
yeah,
You
for the
need
world.
these things. So,
Alright.
I'm going to give you some examples. Thank you so much. Thank you.
One complements the other.
Complement the other, exactly. For example, I have guests at home for Shabbat. All right? So I could entertain them, my guests, telling them about history, telling them the parasha of the week, Chachmei Sfarad, whatever it is. I tell them some things, okay? That's part of a system, of a what? Now, my wife, she can spot something that is impossible for me to spot. Somebody in our table, that is not interested in listening so much. She needs to be heard. She needs to be listened to. She needs to speak. She's in our home for the first time and she needs to speak. There is no way I can spot that. Because I cannot read emotions. I can't. I'm not going to ask everyone, do you want to speak? Do you need to speak? Do you need to express yourself today? I cannot do that. That's the only way we'll find out. But somehow, in this magic, she knows. I don't have this power. So my friends, what do they need? My friends, I mean guests. Do they need system or do they need empathy? Maybe both. Right? And our parents, my mother lives in Argentina. And I talk to her several times a day. And sometimes, I tell you the truth, I don't have anything new to tell her. And she needs to talk for a good 10 minutes. I don't know. For me, it's impossible to talk without saying anything. And I told her about David, about Jacob, about the children, about the grandchildren. I tell them everything. I read Argentinian newspapers and I follow soccer, so I have some conversation with her. But even that sometimes is exhausted. That's it. I don't have anything else to say. So how is everything? Baruch Hashem, everything is okay, like yesterday, like 2 hours ago. And then my wife takes the phone. She doesn't have anything new to say. But she has the ability, and I'm not saying this ironically, she has the ability to talk for 10 minutes in circles, like in an artistic way, without saying the same thing. Baruch Hashem, everything is okay, everything is the same, but in 10 minutes, how you do that? And that's empathy. My mother loves that. She needs that. Her parents live in Israel, and sometimes they're older, and sometimes they need some assistance with this, with that, even with the taxi. Okay, and I can get a taxi from here. I know because I'm good at systems. I can manage a computer or a phone. I can do it. Or they need to pay a bill. I know how to do it from the bank to the gas company. I know how to do it, even from in Argentina and in America, doing it in Israel. So the systems, and I can help her parents with systems. So our parents, what do they need? Systems or empathy? What do they need? Both. Most importantly, our children. Same thing. If they have a problem, Daddy is here. Daddy can solve problems. That is good to solve problems, to help them in these problems. But there are other type of problems. Imagine your daughter comes, and you, the dad, see her that she looks a little bit worried, different, So what would you do to find out what's going on with her? What would you do? Ask her, hey, how are you doing? She says, I'm fine. Oh, great. Mission accomplished. She says, it's fine. I asked her, it's fine. That's it. Yeah. Now, she goes to her room. My wife says, did you see her? I said, yeah, I asked her. She's okay. I said, but did you see her? So she goes to the room with her, and after an hour, she comes and says, oh, you know what? She was bullied in the bus, and this and that, and you have no idea what happened. What a terrible day she had. What? How did you know? How did you know? How did she know? And these are the big problems. I can solve the small problems of my children, but I cannot spot the big problems of my children. So what do our children need? Empathy or systems?
Both.
Need both. Sometimes, let's say something as delicate as choosing a school for your children. Choosing a school. So what if we have 7 children, so we have experience of, choosing, what is the way I choose a school for this boy, or for this one of my girls, my daughters. So this is how she is. She is 1, 2, 3, 4. And the school is A, B, C, D. And the other school is X, Y, Z. All right? So I try to match between her personality and the qualities of the school. That's my contribution to the decision. Okay? My wife thinks it in a completely different way. She doesn't think in terms of A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. She thinks more temporally. She thinks, okay, our daughter, she has been in this school, in that school before, and our other daughter has been in these types of school, and she projects the past and the experiences of the past into how they're going to be in the future. She can have these projections from here to there. They don't have to do with the systems that 1, 2, 3, 4 fits A, B, C, D. It's a completely different way of thought, of experiences and the past and how that projects into the future. Who is right? Who is right?
Both.
Now it's a beracha, it's a blessing if our children need exactly this type of parents that they can see different angles of the same problem, and they can contribute with their own thoughts. Then both of us can get to the best match for a school for our children. Understand? And that is what is beautiful about it. So Chachamim said that, we'll finish with this, that, they say that there are three things that characterizes in a dream, Shalom Bayit. One is a river, one is a kettle, one is a bird. You heard about this? So, the river is a type of relationship that you can have with your wife, which is a relationship of convenience, or my interest, your interest. Because the river communicates between city A and city B. So let's say city A produces meat, and city B produces bread. So what would be the perfect relationship between city A and city B? I give you meat, and you give me bread. Okay? So that's a perfect, apparently good relationship through the river. The problem is that at one point, almost inevitably, CTA will believe and feel that is giving more or better quality of meat than the bread is getting, and vice versa. And then things are going to go almost inevitably wrong. So that type of relationship is not ideal at all. Then you have the kettle, which is a tool that allows for two opposites to not just to survive together, but also to make something like water extinguishes fire, and fire extinguishes water. But if you put it in the kettle, you can make tea and soup. That's synergy, that's great. You can live with your husband. You are able to live with your wife. What is the kettle? This is information that I'm giving you right now. This will allow you to do this. But it's not just this. There is another level. It's the level of the bird. The bird also has two wings, two opposite wings. Now, question. If a bird can fly 100 feet with two wings, how many feet can fly the bird with one wing? 50, right? Zero. Zero. Which means the real synergy, that the total is more than the sum of the parts or something like that. Which you need both. You need both things. You need both opposite to fly. So this is exactly what I was trying to tell you. Abraham created us as opposite because he wants us together to fly and to take our family up, our children, our parents, everyone, and ourselves, to take us up. That's the idea. When we are guided by the Torah, and we know its wisdom, then we can fly and the sky is the limit. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wir halten mit der schönen Sache, weil